Hello, traders. Well, during my working phase of my career, um, especially if you are, connected to the stock market, people generally address you, and the very next thing they ask you is, "Market kya lagta hai?" Isn't it? And the kind of markets that we are going through right now for the last 6 weeks, if anyone had asked me the same question today, um, "Kya lagta hai?" and my standard answer used to be, "Paisa lagta hai." Because in this kind of markets, trying to go long and then make some returns out of it is really difficult, right? So, like every weekend, let's analyze the markets. I know there's nothing much left to analyze because everything's coming down, but still, um, how far is the light at the end of the tunnel? Let's try and figure out, like the way we every week do with the Nifty, with the sectoral charts, and of course, we will consider the RRG graphs as well. Let's take a look. All right, so this is my usual Nifty spot, weekly on the left, daily on the right, the next pro price indicator and the RSI indicator. And this, of course, is the important state of flow. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the left hand side chart, which is the Heiken-Ashi. इसको एक बार बार चार्ट में चेंज करते हैं. Let's change it to bar chart once because we would like to see the extent of the fall. And now we have 3 and 3, 6 weeks of consecutive fall. And the close is at the lowest point of the week's range. So it's not a good close. State of flow, which was positive 3 weeks back, is out, means it's not positive. Neither has it shifted negative. अभी उतना भी, negativity weekly charts पे नहीं आया. So it's going through a retracement after a more or less a major recovery or a major rally. So how big, how crucial has been this, how intense has been this 6-week sell-off? Let's quickly drop an info line. You come to the highest point and you come to the lowest point, and it will give you around 5.2% in 5 bars, which is, if I'm taking from high to low, 6 weeks, and it's around 1300 points. So 5% correction is what we are dealing with. It's okay for a market which had rallied, if you consider this low to this high, which had rallied around 17%, uska 5% correction is manageable, is acceptable. So from a short-term point of view, index 5% correction, ठीक है, it's okay, nothing to get too hyper about. It's just that, जैसे मैंने I think last week में बताया था, it's just that ये जो correction है ना, this 6 weeks correction that we are going through, इसने काफ़ी दिल तोड़ा. It has been really very heartbreaking, disappointing, disheartening, whatever you call it, because that breakout failed. Again, the same story. Breakout के पहले frustration था, अब the breakout gave us some hope, and etc. etc. Now it's all slipping down. So coming back to the analysis part, weekly trend is slipping, momentum is definitely negative, strength nikal gaya, the structure is out of the weekly chart. So it's a chart wherein it is retracing, and it is retracing further with weakness. Is there any sign of bottoming out on the weekly charts? No. Coming to the daily, wherein you could see that we had plotted, marked this support zone, which had some relevance in the past, that close to that 24,500. Now, 2 interesting things happened last week. Last week, the market opened up 2 small opportunities of a bounce back. Opportunity number 1 was this day, which was on Tuesday, 5th of August. Because we call it a hook setup, which is a contrarian setup, and or अगर इस हाई के ऊपर वो जाता तो हम एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते थे, we could have expected a bounce back. That did not happen. The second thing that happened was, interestingly, on Thursday, last Thursday. Now, what happened on last Thursday is it decisively broke the 24,500 aram se. I think it extended more than 150 points on the downside. And hopes were lost, long stop losses were hit, and it was down more than 250 points at the lowest point of the day. I'm talking about Thursday. But by the time Thursday closed, it was a fantastic recovery. It gave us a little hope of positive sentiment that probably the selling is over and Friday we might get an extension. This was Thursday's close. Now I want to share something very interesting with you. That is, every day I post my views at the beginning of the market around 10:30, 10 in the morning. Let me just pull up my X, which was erstwhile Twitter, page for you. ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, ध्यान से सुनिएगा. So Thursday, क्या तारीख था? Thursday was 7th of August. If you come to my Twitter handle, X handle to be precise, this was my Thursday's post in the morning. चलिए देखते हैं इसको. Let's see. I'm not going to read it out to you, but Nifty slips, etc., etc. I've shared my view that no need to act impulsively, let the market settle down, etc., etc. This was posted around 10:24 a.m. Okay. Now let's scroll down a little bit. Now this is where it gets interesting. Mr. Dilip, who's one of my followers, not too sure if he had been one of my students also, but he shares very level-headed, logical responses at times on my tweets. So he's saying that if we survive today, that is Thursday, with minimal damage, we will get a playable pullback, lots of confluence, and I think a surprise pullback is on the cards next week. Okay, no issues. This was, I don't get to see the time, this after 10:24, within few minutes this was posted. And I replied. Now, this is the interesting part. I would read this out. No signs of that pullback yet. My only concern is it might give a sharp dip down, जोर से गिराएगा, take out all stops and then bounce sharp. And इतना sharp bounce होगा कि no one will get a chance to build positions. This is what I replied to him. Now, in this context, अब ये Thursday को I think 10:30 मैंने पोस्ट किया था, 11:30, 12 बजे तक ये कन्वर्सेशन हो चुका है, it's done. Now, on the back of this, जब मैं Thursday 3:30 के बाद चार्ट्स को देख रहा था, I was really hopeful. It was a very interesting close. और जैसे मैंने सोचा था कि when market breaks interesting important supports, वो माल खाली कराता है, it hits the stop losses, जोर से बाउंस बैक देता है एंड फिर पूरा घुमा देता है, यू टर्न. मैं बात कर रहा हूँ Thursday 3:30 के बाद. एंड सो Thursday के क्लोज के बाद I also got a window of opportunity that this market, not in terms of trend indicator, not in terms of RSI, not in terms of Heiken-Ashi, but in terms of sentiment, एक signal दे रहा है that maybe it will reverse. Because आपको, if you follow my work, you will remember in one of my videos I had shared maybe a couple of weeks back or a week back that जब तक थोड़ा बहुत stop loss hit नहीं होता है नीचे के तरफ, तब तक ये market bottom नहीं बनाएगा. And Thursday offered everything. With that hope, we started Friday. And I also was looking out, very hopeful on Friday, that will we get a move above Thursday's high or not. Now let's come to the reality. Nothing of that sort happened on Friday. On the other hand, what happened on Friday was actually very, very heartbreaking, very, very disappointing. Because not only didn't it go up, but it came down 232 points, closed almost at the lowest point of the day, and breached below Thursday's low momentarily. I will say, ये जो भी hopes यहाँ पे build up हुआ था, सब धुल गया, all gone. Now, why am I telling you all this story? Am I telling you all this story to see कि देखा मैंने लिखा था, बोला था? No, not from that point of view. But from the point of view of the way I analyze and look at the price behavior, the market had given me, Nifty Index, at least Nifty analysis had given me two opportunities of a revival reversal. Both of them got negated. क्वेश्चन मार्क. व्हाट डज इट टेल मी? मैं इस एक्सपीरियंस से what is my takeaway? My personal takeaway is the market is weak. The market is not showing any inclination, any intention to bounce back, irrespective of proper price pattern and sentiment pattern. Thursday के behavior को let's call it sentiment pattern, a setup, a pattern based on the sentiment of the market. But it's not working out. And so this market is weak and this can weaken further. So strategically, jab tak, till the time the market is not giving us enough confirmed signs of bottom and revival reversal, tab tak, from a trading point of view, from a short-term momentum trading point of view, do not get too excited to go long. However, I feel that these kind of markets are ideal for you to do some homework and find which sectors and which stocks you can look to add, accumulate in your long-term portfolio. ठीक है? So view negative, trend negative, momentum on the negative side. My state of flow on the daily is also on the downside. I ask the chart, I question, are there any signs of reversal? No. Divergence? No. Is there anything based on which I can sound bullish? No. So no chance of any reversal on the Nifty based on what we see right now. Monday, Tuesday, maybe something can happen based on which we can change our narrative. But as of now, sorry, nothing. So downtrend, stay away. Do not look for long trades. Let's quickly take a look at the mid-cap as well as the small cap. The mid-cap has fallen for 3 weeks. Daily charts are completely weak. State of flow negative. No signs of any kind of divergence or anything on the mid-cap. Weakest point, lowest point of the week is the close. So that's a very weak thing. So same view as that of the Nifty. It's negative. When the charts fall this sharp, there is always a scope of reversion to mean. Mean के तरफ revert करेगा. It will bounce back. Let's say 50% retracement. उसके लिए, and you will know what I'm going to say probably, what you have to watch out for is the Heikin-Ashi to improve. I would like to see some upper shadows, a green Heikin-Ashi hopefully, and उसके बाद जब वो solid green Heikin-Ashi देगा, which is a sign of revival, then only can we get some hope of further upside. तब तक wait and watch. Don't try to predict the bottom. Don't try to pick the bottom. So small cap and mid caps also sharply on the downside, but I will wait for signs of reversal. Now, before we come to the sectoral charts one by one, let's pull out the RRG graphs from the Strike Analytics page. First, I'm going to change the universe to NSE sectors. Then I'm going to change the benchmark to Nifty 500. I'm going to change the time frame to weekly. And for this weekend's analysis, I'm going to change the count from 5 to 6. Now, generally, most of the time, I keep it around 12 weeks to 13 weeks, like a 3-month period. But I want to work on a 6-week because if we take a look at the Nifty, which we did some time back, Nifty is going through a continuous 6-week correction. तो क्यों ना हम RRG ग्राफ को 6 weeks point of view से analyze करके समझने का कोशिश करते हैं. Let's understand which sectors are doing relatively better during these 6 weeks when the market fell. And that's why, for a change, let's do it 6 weeks. इससे होगा क्या? The size of these lines, these wiggly worms, इनके size छोटे होंगे. They will have 6 points. Their positioning will be the same. वो 6 week हो या 60 weeks हो, their positioning will be the same. Now, let's sort it in terms of percentage change. And चालू करते leading quadrants हैं. In the leading quadrant, we have Realty, small cap, mid cap, PSU Bank, and Nifty Metal. Out of which small cap and mid cap, we have already taken a look at the chart. And now when we take a look at the RRG graph, both of them are in the leading quadrant. They have significant relative strength because उनका position 0 point से काफ़ी to the right है, मतलब they have enough relative strength. But we can clearly see that they are losing vertical distance. The momentum, the RS momentum is slipping. And ये हम लोग ने charts में भी देखा है. Let's come to the rest of the other three sectoral charts, starting with Realty. Realty has fallen 8% in the last 6 weeks. Relative strength positioning is good. The momentum loss is there. Let's go to the Nifty Realty chart and let's try and figure out what's happening there. We see a significant correction on the weekly time frame. Significant. It had gone through multiple legs on the downside. I have this zone drawn for quite some time, जो कि previous breakout level था, वापस वहीं पे आ चुका है. Weekly में एक अच्छा खासा, it's a meaningful correction. It's not a small correction. It's a correction of around 17% on the sector. 17 to 20% correction. 20% के आसपास sectoral downside is not a small one. It's a meaningful one. When I say meaningful one, I mean to say that के ऐसे correction, one-way correction के बाद, these kind of charts generally should give you a customary retracement. ठीक है? Now, Realty was doing very good during this period. Okay. I was hopeful that this will lead to a further rise, this one. But the problem आया because of the earnings, if I'm not mistaken, starting from DLF, Oberoi Realty, Lodha, everything, all of these charts had to face the brunt of the earnings. And that's why they have down here. Okay. Weekly chart, negative, state of flow negative. Daily chart, state of flow negative. So completely it's a negative chart. In this kind of a state, you would like to look out for supports. Okay, it's more or less there. And then look out for signs of selling slowdown and bounce back. Is it there? No, it's not there. So stay away from Realty, wait for price to improve. The other two sectors which is there in the leading is the PSU Bank and the metal. Now PSU Bank's relative strength is not bad. It's definitely losing the momentum just like the Realty. And we know that recently the CNX PSU Banking Index has done relatively better than the private bank. With that back of our mind, when we take a look at the PSU Bank weekly chart, let me turn the weekly chart to Heiken-Ashi. हमें ये resistance साफ दिख रहा है that it has proven yet again. State of flow was positive till 2 weeks back. Last 2 हफ्ते से ये फिसल रहा है. Negative momentum, negative Heiken, so it's weakness. And this weakness is after a rally, so we are calling it retracing the rally. All right. Now with this, when we take a look at the daily chart, we see this support zone. Number 1. We see that the state of flow has been on the downside, but as we zoom in, we see mild improvement in momentum and mild improvement in price behavior. We do not have a strong green Heiken. We do not have a proper RSI and my EMA turning green and all that. वो अभी तक हुआ नहीं है, but वो बनने का एक possibility है. There is a bit of a possibility. This can lead to a bounce back, a wedge and breakdown also, or it can reverse also. I don't know what is going to happen, but there is mild signs of improvement, very mild. So which means that you should go down and check the top 5-10 PSU banking. Okay, are there any strength in this pack or not? Okay, that's interesting. The other one in this leading quadrant is metal. Let's take a look at metal. Now, the Nifty metal RRG graph is nothing. It's nothing to take away from this. It's very close to the axis. इसने recently हर एक quadrant को touch किया था. So honestly, there's nothing to take away from the RRG graph. ये इतना पास है axis के that calling it in the leading quadrant, एक दिन में वो lagging में चला जा सकता है, improvement में जा सकता है, कहीं पे भी जा सकता है. It's so close to all the 4 quadrants. I think it makes more sense if we go and take a look at the Nifty Metal Price Index, the Sectoral Index chart. First thing that will strike you is this broadening formation जो मैंने already काफ़ी हफ्तों पहले से draw करके रखा है. And maybe we are headed for a diamond formation. Maybe. Weekly chart, not that bad. Last 2 हफ्ते से मेरा state of flow निकल चुका है, but it means that it is slipping. Heiken-Ashi has just turned down. Structure kharab nahi hai. It's been a decent bounce back. It has gone into a consolidation mode, and maybe it's going to take the shape of a diamond. I don't know. Come to the daily chart, trend, momentum, state of flow, sab negative hai. A weekly chart which is weakening, just weakening, not a negative weekly chart, not a downward negative chart, a downward daily chart, which means that yahan se, of course it can fall. If the market continues to fall for the 7th week, most of the sectors will fall. But we are discussing where lies the strength, where lies the bounce back, where is the exception. If the market is down and I sound too bearish, there's no exceptional fact about it. Bull market में हर कोई तुक्का मार के भी कमा लेता है, करेक्ट. बट बुल मार्केट में कोई एक डेरिवेटिव ट्रेडर शॉर्ट करके अगर कमाया, इसका मतलब he has some skill. So what we are trying to do in these videos is not talk only bearish in a bearish market. We're trying to talk about a little bit of exceptional aspects of the market. Anyways, coming back to the CNX metal right now, charts are weak. Daily chart is weak. Weekly chart is weakening but not weak. It's okay. This can be a bounce back candidate. We will wait for price confirmation. Please understand that these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 names in the leading quadrant, few were very strong, few were not that strong, few were looking interesting like the PSU Bank, few like Realty, we have to wait and watch after a 17% fall. इनका leading quadrant में होने का फ़ायदा क्या है? If I ask myself, ये जो मैं RRG graph analysis कर रहा हूँ every weekend with you, what is the damn logic of doing it? The logic of doing it is, if Monday and Tuesday, if the Nifty shows signs of slowdown and bounce back, देखिए इंडेक्स कभी ना कभी कहीं ना कहीं से तो बाउंस बैक करेगा ही, करेक्ट. When that happens, मेरा पहला अटेंशन लॉन्ग जाने का किस तरफ होना चाहिए? That is what I'm using these RRG graphs for. That is where I will immediately start taking a look at some metal name, realty name, small cap, mid caps can bounce back because इनमें relative strength अभी भी है. That's the logic. इसका मतलब ये नहीं that when the market goes up, these will go up the most. No. The losers can go up the most also. It's just that how do you position yourself? That's it. With that in mind, let's come to the weakening quadrant. Now, weakening quadrant is nothing fancy. It's the same private bank, bank Nifty, and the financials. If you follow my work in these YouTube videos, you know that they have been angling down like this for week after week now. They're weakening. But when we took a look at the price chart, earlier we did not used to find that weakness because it was a pretty strong one. It has started to weakening. Actual price has started to weakening over the last 2 weeks. Trend momentum negative and daily chart तो बहुत अच्छी तरह से टूट चुका है. This is the bank Nifty. आपको याद होगा that when I started the talks about the Nifty, I was talking about some pockets of the windows of opportunities on the upside. Bank Nifty ने वो सब divergence वाला angle दिखाया नहीं. Bank Nifty financials were relatively weak. Okay, weak chart on the daily, weakening chart on the weekly. Stay away until the market gives us signs of revival. Bank Nifty. What about CNX Finance? Same story. When we discuss banks and finance, we always take a look at the PSU Bank and the private bank. Private bank, clearly weak, nothing there. And we have already analyzed the PSU Bank, which is relatively better than the private bank, right? So banks, financials, private bank, stay away, wait. PSU Bank, will this improvement lead to a revival? Ye look out rahega for the next 2 or 3 trading sessions. They are not bullish, but let's look out. When you take a look at the Nifty Private Bank, over the last 6 weeks, it's down 4.15%. PSU Bank 3.4. So thoda sa relative strength PSU mein dikh raha hai. Now let's come to lagging. In lagging, we have Nifty PAC, Energy, and FMCG. FMCG is pretty weak in terms of relative strength, but it's picking up. And it is the only sectoral chart which is positive 1% in the last 6 weeks. That is primarily because of one stock. Primarily. It's a heavyweight, Hindustan Unilever. When we take a look at the CNX FMCG chart, this looks a little different. एक चीज समझते हैं. If last 6 weeks it is a gainer, why is it in the lagging quadrant? सबसे खराब quadrant में ये क्यों पड़ा है? That is because Nifty CNX FMCG is down here, which you can see is significantly away from its all-time highs. Nifty came close, Bank Nifty financials were at new all-time highs. So from a larger point of view, CNX FMCG is a big underperformer. From a short-term 6-7 weeks point of view, it is relative outperformer. ये गिरा नहीं है. अब ये ऊपर भी उतना खास गया भी नहीं है. It has been completely range bound. अच्छा, माइक्रो एनालिसिस करते हैं. ट्रेंड इज वेरी वेरी फ्लैट, मोमेंटम इज इम्प्रूविंग, माई स्टेट ऑफ फ्लो इज पॉजिटिव. ऐसे कॉम्बिनेशंस से मुझे उम्मीद होगा कि ये ब्रेकआउट दे. विद दिस कॉम्बिनेशन एनालिसिस इन्फरेंस विल बी आई शुड बी एक्सपेक्टिंग अ ब्रेकआउट. मोमेंटम पॉजिटिव है, ट्रेंड फ्लैट टू पॉजिटिव है, सो आई शुड बी एक्सपेक्टिंग अ ब्रेकआउट. आएगा कि नहीं, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट स्टोरी. विद दैट व्हेन आई टेक अ लुक एट द डेली, आई सी ऑफ लेट ये जितना ऊपर जाता है उतना ही वो नीचे आ जाता है. एंड वी विल सी some fantastic move from few of the stocks. Hindustan Unilever, of course, led from the front. It's very important to see whether ITC, Tata Consumers, and the others will follow suit or not. That's the most important thing. Daily charts, however, is choppy and down. So immediate action daily chart से नहीं है. Immediate action ये weekly breakout से है. So keep an eye on that. आप इस level पे एक alert लगा के रख सकते हो. If FMCG breaks out, आप immediately check करना चाहिए कौन सा stock ये breakout CNX FMCG को दिला रहा है. Which stock is contributing to the breakout. So this is an exception. ठीक है, PSU was one exception, mild exception. CNX FMCG is the other exception. The other two sectors are the energy and the PSU. Energy का बात करें, so from the leading, it has now moved straight to lagging. Energy was doing relatively better, leading quadrant में था, but it lost. And in this 6 weeks of fall, the CNX Energy Index has also it also fell quite a bit. So, state of flow, which was positive some 3 weeks back, is now fallen. It's weakening. Daily chart has fallen quite a bit. The pocket of opportunity over here to bounce back failed. And now as I close in, I see an HAGB. This is a sign of a slowdown, not a reversal, a sign of slowdown. In the past, every time it gave us this sign, it continued the trend on the downside. Will this continue the trend on the downside? Or will this lead to a reversal? I don't have any supporting evidence for my RSI. I do not see any significant support per se, but more or less इसी level को ये तोड़ रहा है, just like the Nifty. 24,500 को तोड़ के ऊपर आया था थर्सडे को. Similar kind of a situation. So it will be interesting to keep an eye on CNX Energy primarily based on this. देखेंगे क्या होता है Monday, Tuesday को. But overall view is bearish. When will I go bullish? When I will get confirmation. The other one is CNX PAC. एक बार PAC का RRG ग्राफ देख लेते हैं. And it just entered the lagging. It has just entered our lagging quadrant. It's a weak RRG graph. Weekly chart has confirmed state of flow on the negative side. Daily chart, beautiful flow on the downside. And now on the CNX PAC, I have a setup which is contrarian in nature. I call it the hook setup. This is my contra setup. And I generally will wait for this HAGB's high to get crossed and closed above this. So CNX PAC के अंदर, if and only if on Monday I get a move above the high and preferably a close above the high, ये मुझे confirmation दे देगा कि ये अभी ready है bounce back देने के लिए. ये रहा हमारा तीसरा exception, CNX PAC, जिस पे ध्यान देना चाहिए. We did take a look at the PSU Bank, PSU Bank overlapping है, right? And we also saw energy a little bit. ध्यान रखिएगा. Let's see what happens to the PAC next week. Now coming to the next and the last quadrant, which is improving. IT, Pharma, Consumer Durables, and Auto. Auto does not have much relative strength. It has lost the momentum as well. कुछ खास नहीं है, nothing great. देखते हैं. When we take a look at the CNX Auto, we do not see a negative weekly chart. We do not. अब तक जो भी चार्ट्स देख रहे थे सबके ट्रेंड नेगेटिव था, मोमेंटम नीचे की तरफ था. इसका उतना भी नेगेटिव नहीं है. एंड अगर आप डेली चार्ट देखेंगे तो आपको समझ में आ जाएगा इट हैड बीन रॉयली चॉपी फॉर ऑलमोस्ट 2.5 months now. क्लियरली आपको 2 व्हीलर्स में मोमेंटम दिखेगा लास्ट वीक, 4 व्हीलर्स में नहीं. बट 4 व्हीलर्स they have the weightage and they have the potential to a breakout, especially Mahindra and Mahindra. As of now, what is the view? Weekly chart, I'll say neutral. Daily chart, I have to say negative. All the readings are negative. On a neutral weekly chart, when the daily is negative and the heaviest weightage stock is close to an all-time high, thoda sa wait kar jana chahiye. You should not look too short. And let's see if it gives us any sign of reversal or not. But clearly, अगर आप later you break down the auto constituents, आपको clearly दिखेगा that Hero Motoco and the other 2 wheelers are leading from the front. Sadly, उनका उतना ज़्यादा weightage नहीं है जितना कि 4 wheelers में. So auto, cautiously bullish. Just wait out and let's wait for the breakout. That is the most important thing. We should definitely talk about IT, the second most important sector, losing the momentum, and it is significantly away from relative strength. कोई relative strength कुछ खास है नहीं. This pack has done a lot of damage. It will straight away hit you, the daily chart, the extent of the fall. And what is the extent of the fall? We saw that in real estate. We saw almost 17 to 18%. For the IT, it's amounts to around 13% fall. Right? So not as big as the Realty, but a 13% IT fall matters more than an 18% Realty fall. Of course, weekly chart, clearly negative. No sign, nothing. Daily chart, significant correction. There was a bit of a contra setup, never got triggered, and it's falling further. Do I have any signs of momentum slowdown? Not really. Very, very early signs. It's an inside bar on Friday. Friday, इसने Thursday का लो तोड़ा नहीं है अभी तक. It's an inside bar. रुक जाते हैं, देखते हैं. Too late to go short. Too early to go long. Wait out. Not an exception. It's a weak sector in a weak market environment. Pharma. Pharma has a very good looking RRG graph. Left to right, down to up. Improving, definitely improving RRG. But when we take a look at the Pharma actual price chart, it's disappointing. Just 5-6 days back, it was the strongest sector. And last week's, I think Thursday, Friday selling in Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy and DVs, heavyweights, caused a lot of heavy damage in a very short span of time. Coming to the weekly chart, it is not completely negative. It's not. It's just it has fallen significant in a very short span of time. Just stay away from it. Stay away. Don't do anything. Just don't do anything. These kind of charts will stay volatile. And if this range holds, you may get some kind of a bounce. So, Pharma mein koi exception tha? Nope. Coming down to the last sector within the RRG graphs is consumer durables. This is also a very good looking RRG graph. Does this good looking RRG graph reflects in the consumer durables price chart? Weekly chart, not bad. It's not negative. It's neither positive. It's dealing with this resistance. Daily chart, one thing that stands out is a huge range on Friday. It's a green HAGB, it's a negative state of flow, it's got some positive divergence, मतलब सब कुछ है. मतलब एक एनालिस्ट को कंफ्यूज करने के लिए जो ज़रूरी है सब कुछ है इसके अंदर. So, am I confused? I'm not confused, but I have the clarity to tell myself, stay away. Selectively bullish, not bearish, stay away. And look out for the top 3 weighted stocks. You take a look at Titan, Dixon, Havells, and try and figure out कहाँ से वो move आ सकता है. Consumer durables, weekly chart is okay. Daily chart, not okay. It needs to give you this breakout. Okay. Please understand one thing before I move on to the next 3 sectoral charts here. For the next week, right, important pivot point on the downside was Thursday's low, जो फ्राइडे इसने थोड़ा सा ब्रीच किया है, एंड ऊपर के तरफ इज थर्सडेज हाई जहां से ये फ्राइडे फिसला है. सो थर्सडेज हाई, इसको अलर्ट बना के रखिए. कोई भी सेक्टर या कोई भी स्टॉक अगर थर्सडे के हाई को क्रॉस कर रहा है या फिर और एंड लास्ट वीक का रेंज को क्रॉस कर रहा है, लास्ट वीक्स हाई को क्रॉस कर रहा है, these are going to be your early signs of strength, revival, reversal. उन्हीं स्टॉक्स में लॉन्ग अटेम्प्ट कीजिएगा और एल्स नहीं. राइट, नाउ विद दिस आई क्विकली फिनिश दिस वीडियो विद द अदर 3 सेक्टर्स जो मैंने रिसेंटली यहाँ पे ऐड किया अपने वॉच लिस्ट पे. द फर्स्ट वन इज इंडिया डिफेंस विच हैज़ गॉन थ्रू अ मीनिंगफुल करेक्शन. यहाँ पे आपको एक्सेप्शन दिखेगा, इम्प्रूवमेंट ऑफ मोमेंटम. Maybe a divergence is going to get formed. We got a little bit move, but it is getting dissipated, it's getting negated. But this is an exception. यहाँ पे हो सकता है we may get a bottom. Price needs to confirm. Momentum improve हो चुका है, price होने को बाकी है. That is what we have to wait for. India digital is weak, down, no signs of revival yet. So stay away. And then you have the last one, which is the tourism. Okay, there's another one, which is the capital market. This is tourism, which was a very strong chart, which was at all-time highs. Breakout seems to be failing. No signs of revival yet. Stay away, don't do anything. And finally, capital market, which also, like the defense, after a brilliant rally, is slowing down. अब यहाँ पे भी जब मैं zoom in कर रहा हूँ, यहाँ पे मुझे एक range बनते हुए दिख रहा है. यहाँ पे मुझे momentum धीरे से बहुत mild improvement होते हुए दिख रहा है. So I should wait for this breakout. Which is boiling down to what? This entire analysis that we did right now is boiling down to what? 6 weeks of continuous correction, weak market conditions, pockets of opportunities of bounce back has failed, and everything seems to be pretty much weak. Earnings has not helped, tariff threats has not helped, RBI monetary policy is behind us, which is kind of status quo. Now going forward, we have to rely on price and price only. So do not be in a haste to go for long trades unless it has shown or demonstrated relative strength. Wait for the market to give us those signals. Tab tak, wait and watch will be a good strategy for a trader. And for an investor who would like to accumulate in their long-term portfolio, look at sectors which have fallen more than 20%, let's say 15 to 25%, stocks more than 20%. If you find some meaningful support, good quality company, you may look to have a staggered approach and add some stocks. ठीक है? So this is a good time to do that homework because trading activity आपका घटेगा, कम हो जाएगा. On the long side मैं बात कर रहा हूँ. And आपका long term investment वाला जो research activity है, जो homework activity है, वो बढ़ जाना चाहिए. Right? So with this, I'll finish this video. Do let me know. Does this make any sense to you or not? Or what is your view on the market? I would definitely love to hear from you. Till then, take care of yourselves. Prepare well for the next week. Goodbye.